Hi, I'm Attorney Jenny, and I'll be discussing with you today what happens post trade when you have traded in a market and your broker has completed your order. I'll be just explaining
Explaining
what
what
happens
happens
post trade.
post trade.
I
I
belong
belong
to the
to the
Clearing and
Clearing
Settlements
Settlements
Corporation of the
Corporation of the
Philippines,
Philippines,
and this is a
and this is
owned
a
subsidiary of the
subsidiary of the
Philippine Stock
Philippine Stock
Exchange.
Exchange.
We
We
were
were
with
registered
the
with the
SCCP as a
SCCP
clearing
as a clearing agency
on January
on January
17,
17,
2002,
2002,
and we were
and we were
incorporated
incorporated
January
January
23,
23,
1996
1996
to
to
operate as a
operate a
central
central
clearing
clearing
institution for
institution for
securities
securities
transactions.
transactions.
We
We
use
use
the
the
Central
central
Clearing and
clearing and
Central
central
Settlement
settlement
System, or
system,
the
or the
CCP, as
CCP, is
purchased from the
purchased from the
Capital
Capital
Markets
Market
Corporation,
Corporation,
CAPCO,
CAPCO,
which
which
was
is was in Belgium.
the
The
SCCP also
SCCP
acts
also
as a
acts as
central
a central
counterparty to
counterparty to
trades
trades
executed through the
executed through the
facilities
facilities
of the
of the
PSE.
PSE.
So, what is the
So, what is
purpose
the
of our
purpose of our
existence?
existence?
The
The
SCCP
SCCP
indeed takes
indeed
a
takes
key
a
role
key
in
role in
delivering vital
delivering vital
services
services
to
to
ensure the
ensure the
integrity of
integrity
our
of our
market.
market.
So, our mission
So our mission
statement is here
statement is
to
here
deliver
to
high
deliver
quality
high quality
systems
systems
for the
for the
settlement of
settlement of
eligible
eligible
trades on a
trades on a
delivery
delivery
versus
versus
payment
payment
basis,
basis,
ensuring the
ensuring the
finality and
finality and
irrevocability of these
irrevocability of
trades,
trades,
and for the
and for the
administration of
administration of
appropriate risk
appropriate risk
management
management
functions
function
to
to
forestall
forestall
any
any
untoward
untoward
event that
event
may
that
affect
may
the
affect
settlement
the settlement
process.
process.
In other
In other
words,
words,
we
we
assure
assure
all
all
those that
those
have
that have
transacted in the
transacted in the
market
market
that
that
you will
you
be
will
paid
be
in
paid
case you
in
sell
case you
your
sell your
stocks,
stocks,
and
and
you
you
will
will
receive
receive
the
the
shares that you
shares
have
that you
bought in
have
the
bought in
market.
the market.
Basically, when we
Basically,
talk
when we
about
talk
clearing
about
and
clearing and
settlement, there are
settlement,
two
there are two
parts:
parts:
the
the
cash part
cash part
and the
and
securities part.
securities part.
These are the
These are the
market
market
participants
participants
involved in
involved in
settlements.
settlements.
We do
We do
not
not
deal
deal
directly with
directly
you,
with
the
you, the
investing
investing
public.
public.
We deal
We
to the
deal to the
level of
level of
the
the
brokers.
broker.
So, who are
So,
the
who are the
market participants in the
participants in the
SCCP?
SCCP?
Firstly, the
Firstly,
clearing
the
members
clearing
or the
members or the
brokers.
brokers.
Secondly,
Secondly,
to
to
address
address
the
the
cash side
cash
of
side of
settlement, we have
settlement, we have
settlement
settlement
banks.
banks.
We have a
We have
total
a
of
total
10
of 10
authorized
authorized
settlement
settlement
banks:
banks:
RCBC,
RCBC,
BDO,
BDO,
Metrobank,
Metrobank,
Deutsche,
Deutsche,
Union,
Union,
HSBC,
HSBC,
Maybank,
Maybank,
AUB,
AUB,
China Bank,
China
and
Bank, and
Citibank.
Citibank.
The third
The third
participant here
participant
would be
here
the
would be the
Central
central
Depository, or
depository,
the
or the
Philippine
Philippine
Depository and
Depository and
Trust
Trust
Company.
Company.
This
This
PDTC is a
PDTC is a
repository of all
repository of all
scripted
scripted
securities
securities
traded in the
traded in the
market.
market.
So
So
all
all your
are
securities are
lodged to the
lodged to the
PDTC
PDTC
before
before
shares
the
are
shares are
traded in the
traded in the
market,
market,
or
or
once you
once you
purchase your
purchase your
shares, you
shares,
can
you can
always
always
request your
request your
broker
broker
if you
if
want
you
it in
want it in
certificated
certificated
form.
form.
Imagine a
Imagine a
giant
giant
vault
vault
or a
or a
safe where
safe
all the
where all the
securities in
securities in
scriptless form
scriptless form
are
are
safeguarded
safeguarded
in the
in the
PDTC.
PDTC.
And that is
And
what the
that is what the
PDTC is.
PDTC is.
All right.
All
And
right.
then the
And then the
fourth
fourth
group of
group
market
of market
participants would be the
participants would be the
foreign
foreign
custodian
custodian
banks.
banks.
Uh,
Uh,
these four
these four
banks,
banks,
HSBC,
HSBC,
Deutsche,
Deutsche,
Citi, and
Citi, and
Standard
Standard
Chartered,
Chartered,
hold
hold
the scriptless
the
shares
shares
of
of
foreign
foreign
clients.
clients.
The
The
SECP has
SCCP
four
has
main
four main
functions.
functions.
First would be the
First would be
clearing and settlement of exchange trades. Second would
Second would
be
be
the
the
maintenance of
maintenance
a
of a
security fund,
security
which is
fund,
the
which is
clearing
the
and
clearing
trade
and trade
guarantee fund,
guarantee fund,
to ensure
to
that
ensure
all
that
money
all money
obligations are
obligations
paid.
are paid.
Thirdly,
Thirdly,
the
the
SEC also
SEC also
engages in
engages
risk
in risk
monitoring and
monitoring and
management
management
in order to
in order to
prevent
prevent
any
any
uh,
uh, unforeseen
unforeseen defaults in
defaults in
settlement.
settlement.
And
And
fourthly, the
fourthly, the
performance of
performance
fails
of sales
management in
management
case
in case
the
the
obligations to
obligations to
pay
pay
or
or
delivery of
delivery
stocks
of
are not
stocks are
done
not
or are
done or
late.
are late.
Clearing and
Clearing and
settlement.
settlement.
Clearing is an
Clearing is an
activity
activity
where
where
we do
we do
marching,
marching,
matching, and
matching, and
sorting
sorting
all
all
in any
like
given
any
day.
given day.
So we know
So we know
exactly
exactly
what
what
trades are
trades
being
are
done by
being
each
right
of the
of
broker,
the broker,
and we
and
sort
we
them out
sort them out
accordingly.
accordingly.
Settlement would
Settlement would
already be
already
like
be like
the
the
delivery of the
of the
cash
cash
or the
or the
security
securities
pertaining
pertaining
to
to
each broker.
each broker.
All right.
All right.
As to the
As to the
settlement
settlement
cycle,
cycle,
we
we
have
have
a T
a
plus
T
three
plus three
settlement cycle.
settlement
What is
cycle.
this?
What is this?
T is
T is
trade date,
trade day,
and
and
settlement of
settlement
this
of this
trade would
trade
be
would
after
be
three
after
days.
3 days.
So
So
if you trade
if
on
you
a
trade on a
Monday,
Monday,
the
the
settlement date would
settlement
be
date would be
Thursday.
Thursday.
Our
Our
settlement mode, there
settlement
are
mode, there
different
are different
modes,
modes,
but
but
this
this
is
is
a
a
very basic
very
mode.
basic mode.
It is
It is
called
a called
delivery
delivery
versus
versus
payment,
payment,
DVP.
DVP.
Well, model
Well,
3, I'll
model
discuss
I'll
it
discuss
later,
that
but
later,
this
but this
ensures
ensures
that
that
delivery of
delivery of
stocks will
stocks
occur
will
only
occur only when payment is made, and vice versa. Payment will only be made if there is complete delivery of the shares sold. The settlement deadline would be on the third day, 12 noon, for both cash and shares. The level of settlement, as I mentioned, would be on the broker level. We do not deal with you, the public. The payment or delivery mode would be a flag basis, whether it would be a client account, both foreign and local, or principal account. The principal pertains to the brokers, whether local and foreign. The entitlement, so 12 o'clock, everything has to be in, both cash and securities. 12:45 on the third day would be the confirmation of the transfers of the stock or money with the appropriate accounts of the clearing members. So this happens on a typical day in SCCP, sorry. At 7 a.m., we have linkages with PTTC, the depository, and all the settlement banks. So 7 a.m. is the start of the day where we link up with the depository. 9 a.m., we start connecting with the settlement banks, and we start receiving payments and deliveries by 9 a.m. to 12 noon. This is really written in stone that everything has to be in at 12 noon and not a second later. At 12:15 in the afternoon, we coordinate with the settlement banks and find out whether the necessary money obligations have already been deposited, credited, or debited, depending on what the trade would be. So 12:45, this is where we credit or debit the brokers. 3 p.m. will be the end of the day with the settlement banks. And every 4:30 in the afternoon, we receive the files of the trade data for the day from the PSE. 7 p.m. Would be the end of day with PDTC. So this happens post-trade. Okay, the concept of central counterparty. This is a typical setup in most equities markets. It's different with the bond market, but now we're talking about the PSE, so this would be equities. So this concept of central counterparty is that the SCCP would be the buyer to every seller in the market, as well as the seller to every buyer. So if you see in the trading market, in the PSE, orders being filled and transactions being made, let's say, between broker A and broker X, at the end of the trading day, when the feed goes to SCCP, the SCCP now is the only buyer, is the main buyer for all the trades of the day, as well as the seller for all the trades of the day. This simplifies matters, so you don't have multi-parties settling all these obligations, and you only have one counterparty, which is the SCCP. How do we prevent fails in delivery? We engage in risk management and monitoring. We adopt certain mechanisms to measure risk to ensure that settlement will be complete every settlement day. The first activity would be adopting the delivery versus payment mode of settlement, which would ensure that delivery of securities cannot take place without the corresponding payment, and vice versa. In other words, to simplify matters, it's really kaliwaan. We will not credit the cash account or unless complete delivery has been made. That's how it goes. We also maintain a clearing and trade guarantee fund. This is a fund established and maintained by the SCCP for the purpose of covering failed trades due to a clearing member's default in his settlement obligation. We also regularly monitor the capital of each clearing member or each broker, and we have linkages with CMIC, that is the Capital Market Integrity Corporation, where we get data as to the capital adequacy of each broker on a daily basis. We also monitor highly unusual trades in the market, which would give rise to highly unusual settlement obligations. We also monitor flag stocks from our regulator that would need more monitoring. We also take note of concentrations of trades among just a few brokers. That's also flagged for us. We also take note of recurring fails of the clearing members and habitual late obligations in case the member does this. There are appropriate penalties according to a scale of fines that we have for this. And lastly, we also do a daily mark-to-market collateral requirement for each clearing member. This would cover fluctuations in market prices within the 3-day unsettled trade period. So let me give an example. Supposing you would buy on Monday your PLDT shares at 100 pesos each, but the next day it goes down to 80. So the difference would be 20. So we always ask the broker then to deposit in their account 20 pesos as market collateral. What is the reason for this? There would be a risk because the price went down. There would be a risk that the buyer will not pay for the whole amount on settlement day. So we ask for collateral of, that's in my example, 20 pesos to ensure that complete payment will be made on settlement day. Well, the reverse would happen when if the uh, market price goes up, then we return the collateral, right? The guarantee fund. So this guarantee fund assures that there would be um, complete payment all the time. And I assure you that the amount of this fund is adequate based on our risk computations. So the CTGF, or the guarantee fund, is composed of seed money contributions from the PSE, and then clearing members also do have monthly contributions based on their volumes traded. SCCP also contributed to this fund, and interest income from the investment of the CTGF. I would like to underscore the fact, though, that this is not a fund that we draw on all the time. Actually, we never used it. This is always a last resort if money runs out, but that was never the case in the whole history of the SCCP. I'd also want to make a point that the role of the SCCP is not to extend loans to its clearing members, nor does SCCP manage the cash or security deposits or accounts of the clearing members. The cash accounts are being managed by the banks, and the security deposits and accounts of each clearing member is being managed by the depository. Earlier, I mentioned that we engage in fails management activities. Fails management only occurs where there is late payment or delivery in which would occur beyond 12 noon of the settlement date. In the history of the SCCP, then, the only cash fails were both in November of 2006. But that particular clearing member was able to pay within 2 days for the first offense and within 1 day for the second offense. And there have been only 2 securities fails ever since SCCP's inception, but in both cases, the clearing members were able to deliver the following morning. When a clearing member defaults, he gets suspended and pays a penalty fee according to our scale of fines and penalties. The suspension of the defaulting clearing member is posted by SCCP in both the PSE and SCCP websites, and SCCP reports the same to the CMIC and the Securities Exchange Commission. Buy-in and send-out. This is a mechanism that we adopt in case delivery is incomplete in selling transactions where the broker fails to deliver the complete number of shares pertaining to that trade. So what we do is we do not credit the broker's account for the cash. We hold it to buy securities in the market to fill in the balance needed. For buying transactions, we hold the securities and we do not give that also to the account to the broker, and we sell these securities for the cash payment fails. Okay. I mentioned that there is a scale of fines and penalties based on the gravity of the offense. So failure to settle cash and securities obligations by 9:15 a.m. of the fourth day would merit a preventive suspension of the clearing member. The material or persistent breach by the clearing member of the provisions of SCCP rules and/or SCCP operating procedures, as well as repeated violations by the clearing member of acts punishable with fines, would lead to ineligibility or loss of qualification as a clearing member of the SCCP. This is a typical thought of some of the investing public, that they would like their, securities in certificated form. But I would like to assure you that it would be better to keep it in the scriptless form so you can trade it readily. You don't have to have it lodged again, uploaded again in the depository. And having a certificate would have the risk of loss or forgery, and you would always have your statement of account from your broker as to your holdings. So I would suggest that you just keep it in scriptless form. Thank you for your attention, and I think we'll be opening this talk for questions, if there are any.